Welcome to Twisted Dice, I'm Darren, and today I'm going to be talking about Shadow of Thrones, the new cool box set that's just come out from Games Workshop. Today's video I'm going to be covering through the Custodians, the new rules from the Custodians, but I'm also going to be talking about the new rules for the Genestealer Cult as well, because both of them have got some really cool bits. So the first part I'm going to take you through is the Genestealer Cult themselves. So looking at the ambush rule, not much seems to have changed much on the actual ambush rule itself. I was kind of hoping we'd see some new rules in there. Whether the codex itself is going to have anything different, I'm not sure. But at the moment, the Genestealer Cult core main rules for the ambush side still looks pretty much similar. So let's talk about one of the main models themselves for the Genestealer Cult, and that is the Patriarch. Now, unfortunately, I've got some good news and I've also got some bad news for yourself. So depending on how I build this sandwich for the Genestealer Cult, the good news is the Patriarch has got better, in my opinion, but it'd be really cool to see what you guys think. You know, please drop some comments down below and let me know what you think. But the Genestealer Cult Patriarch is coming in line with the actual Broodlord himself. So the reason I'm pointing, so I can't tell you if he's got more expensive or cheaper in points, but what I can say, he's still moving a good whopping 8 inches. He's got a weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 4, so that's got better. He is now coming in, however, at strength 5, as before he came in at strength 6. He is also sitting at toughness 5. He is sitting on 7 wounds, so he's gone up a wound. Before he used to be on 6 wounds, so having that extra wound does make him a little bit more survivable. And he's also sitting on 6 attacks, leadership 10, and he's sitting on a 4+ save. Now, the interesting part upon it, the Broodlord himself is actually now gone from a 5+ invulnerable save down to a 4+ invulnerable save. So that makes the actual Patriarch himself a lot more survivable than he was before. So one new little thing on there, the familiar that before you used to have to spend points for, so you can have up to 2 familiars, that has kind of now disappeared. So he comes with the 1 familiar as it looks as standard, but with the familiar you used to be able to do a psychic spell, sorry. Now what he does is, if the Patriarch fails his psychic test, you can actually, once per battle, use the familiar himself to actually recast that psychic spell. So it kind of makes it okay. So it's, you know, that one chance opportunity that you do suffer perils from the warp, that you could use that familiar to intervene and save the Patriarch or stop him from getting wounds. But whether that's good or not, I'm not too sure. Most of the time I never took him, so for me that's something, I suppose, something free, so that's kind of cool. Now next up is the Living Idol. Living Idol has changed by the looks of this. So the Living Idol rule is now an aura ability. So what that means is any contrition tests that are being taken for the, no, I've gone through that. So the weapon profile of the Patriarch himself, so he's still got the rending claws, or the monstrous rending claws. Before it used to be D3, now it's a flat 2 damage. It is also sitting at -3, 2 damage, but on 6s it does do a flat 3 damage. So the D3 damage before used to be really hit and miss on whether or not you got, you know, 1 damage, 2 damage or 3 damage. We know now it's just going to be a simple flat 2. So actually, do you know what, that's really cool against most things, but against Death Guard, against the Dreadnoughts, things like that, that ain't really going to help us out that much. But hopefully when you're taking this bad boy onto the battlefield, you're really picking your targets on who is going to go after. Okay, so let's talk about the next in command, which is going to be the Primus, the one that goes off and sets up other cities, planets to fall under the influence of the Genestealer Cult himself. So again, the Primus himself, his specs have changed, which is quite interesting. So before the actual Primus himself, he used to be T3, he's now gone up to T4, but otherwise, spec-wise, he's still the same. Moves 5, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, actually that's actually got better, because before he used to be a 3+ on the shooting, so he's got better on that side. Toughness 4, as I say, it was really strong. 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9 with a 5+ save. So the Primus actually got a lot better. So let's talk about the weapon profile, because there is some changes in the profile weapon as well. So first up is pistol has changed slightly. Where it used to be a 12-inch range, it's now gone up to 18, but otherwise all the rest of the specs of the pistol is still the same. So it is still strength 1, no AP to this, and it's D3 damage, but it always does wound on a 2+ unless it's going up against a vehicle or Titanic. Moving over to the Cult Bone Sword. So the Bone Sword itself is now gone +1, so it will make him a strength 5 character using the Bone Sword, -2, and it's gone from 1 damage to 2 damage. So it actually makes him a lot better in combat. Don't get me wrong, it's not, it's not game changing, but it does make him a lot more deadlier in combat and makes him a little bit more of a threat and makes him a little bit more well worth taking into combat. Next thing, you've got the Toxin Injector Claw. It's user -1, 1 damage, but with this weapon you make 1 additional attack with this weapon each time the attack is made with this weapon, and it's always unmodified rolls of 2+, always successful, unless it's of course going against vehicles or Titanic. So that's kind of cool. So you can go in with the Bone Sword first, and then just have a cheeky little claw in afterwards. So we've got a couple of new abilities from the Primus, from the old, from the new. So one of them, as you can see just here, whilst a friendly enemy core unit within 6 inches of this model, each time this model unit makes an attack, it can re-roll the hit rolls of 1. So that's still the same as it was before, so that's pretty cool. So the next one is the Planner. In your command phase, select 1 friendly cult unit within 9 inches of this model, and to the start of your next command phase, each time the model in that unit makes an attack, you can re-roll wound rolls of 1. So that's better, because before obviously you used to pick the target, pick an enemy unit, and then when the other units went to it, you got the you're re-rolling the 1s. So now it's kind of like, right, every turn you can then just choose a core unit that's around you, and all of a sudden they're going to be doing re-rolling the 1s to wound. So that's actually pretty cool. So in my mind, I think he's got a lot better, but again, it'd be interesting again to see what you think upon this, but I think already he's actually become a much worthier opponent to take upon the battlefield. Let's talk about the mages, because the mages has actually got a hell of a lot better. So the stat line for the mages is still exactly the same. So depending on whether it was a he or she, the mages in your army is just super cool, and I'll explain why. You still got the additional attack with the dagger, so that hasn't changed, but the familiar is the same as the patriarch. So I was thinking about it when I was just talking about the patriarch just a second ago. There would be times that I would have spent that 5 points for the actual familiar itself, because it was a cheeky way of actually pinging off a cheeky wound over to the familiar first. So if you got hit by a las cannon, well, there you go, familiar, you just take that little blow to the head. So that's, I suppose, one downside to it for 5 points. Now obviously you're getting it free, so just like the patriarch, you're just getting to re-roll a failed psychic test. Now this is really cool part about the mages, is the aura now for the mages is on a 5+, if you take any wounds on any core units within 6 inches, on a 5+, they pretty much get 5, feel no pain. How cool is that? All of a sudden that mages is actually playing a bigger part in your army than it ever did before. For myself, it was all about taking the mind control, getting across the board, taking over a unit and actually causing devastation to your opponent. But now she is just actually buffing the hell out of your unit. So I'm super excited about that, because that's going to make that unit really damn cool. So the next unit is going to be the Neophyte Hybrid. Not much has really changed on it. Looking at the stat lines for the Neophyte, they still look exactly the same. I can't really see anything in there that's standing out that makes them any better, but even nevertheless, they're still in the box set, and they are still such a damn cool unit, and everything we've seen so far, they could be really deadly if you take them in big numbers. So when editing this back, I noticed an ability that I completely missed on this unit, and this is absolutely super cool. So the Occult icon, if one of your models is equipped with this, in your command phase, you're going to basically be able to regenerate or regain D6 destroyed models each command phase. That is absolutely pretty strong, and it definitely makes it well worth holding these units back on the objectives, having a bigger unit. So if you do lose models in the morale phase, you've got a chance next phase to actually bring back D6 models. So this is going to be quite cool, and potentially when the codex comes, I'm really hoping and praying that we see this across the board amongst other, like the other hybrids, because this is so strong and this could be really game changing for the Genestealer Cult. But this is the model that most people are really keen to know how this model actually plays out. So this is the Saboteur. The Saboteur of all saboteurs. The Saboteur, she looks like a really cool model. Now we got teasers on the actual website itself, and as much as I did say to my friends that are local to myself that she's probably not going to be as good as we would like to be, let me read you out some of the stat lines, and it'd be, again, interesting to see your thoughts on whether or not you think that she's actually going to be any play in competitive side. So she's got a movement of 6, weapon skill of 3, ballistic skill 2, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8 with a 5+ save. She's got the remote explosive charges, so hopefully they'll be popping up on the screen, so you can have a little read upon those. So you've got the remote explosive, you've got the blasting charges, she's got demolition charges. So let's have a look. So the Saboteur is equipped with auto remote explosive, blasting charge, demolition charge, and frag grenades. So she's actually got more weapons than it was actually previously put upon the actual page itself. So that's actually pretty cool. So she's absolutely a damn little beast on itself, so that's really damn cool. She is coming at power level 4, but hopefully the time I've got this video up, I will have some more inkling on how many points that this model is going to be itself. Now this is the interesting part about it, because this is about the rules on how this model plays. So she's got Concealed, she's got Outstanding Loyalty, which is in the Genestealer Cult codex. Deploy an explosive. This model can perform this action. A Saboteur model from your army can start to perform this action in your command phase. This action is complete at the end of your movement phase. If this model action is successful, complete the phase explosive marker within 1 inch of this model, and this model cannot perform this action again. If this model is destroyed, remove the explosive marker from the battlefield. Quote, each time a range attack is allocated to this model while it's receiving benefits of cover, add 1 to any of its saving throws against that attack. That's cool. The Adeptus explosive at the end of your movement phase, phase of your opponent's charge phase, or if any model within 3 inches of the model, the Adeptus explosive marker can be used. This ability, roll a d6 for each model, excluding aircraft, within 3 inches of the marker. Add 2 if it's a biker, monster, or vehicle. On a 4+, it suffers 1 mortal wound, or 4 mortal wounds if the model is a monster or vehicle. Remove this model's Adeptus explosive marker from the battlefield. So it's a one-trick pony. That is a shame. So it's only a one-trick pony. Troops, you're going to be blown up on 4, but it looks like if you're adding 2 to it, you know, bikes, vehicles, monsters, you're going to be blown up on 2. So I really hope that she's going to be cheap in points. Otherwise, I just can't see it being very competitive at all. You know, it makes it interesting, but I just can't see it being competitive. But look, please let me know, drop some comments down below, because I know there's going to be some really awesome Tyranny players out there. I know there's some Cult players out there. Let me know what you guys and girls think on it. But she's not as good as I was kind of hoping her to be. The next rule is the Clandestine. While this model is within an area terrain feature, enemy models cannot target with its range attacks unless they are within 12 inches of her. So, do you know what? It's not bad. Each time a range attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from the attack hit rolls. So, that's kind of cool. So, she could be... So, all of a sudden, I've just seen like something that potentially could be good for her. Okay, that she's a one-trick pony on the weaponry. But what it does mean for her is the fact that you could put her on an objective back, you know, further back. So if there is a bit of terrain where the objective is next to it, she could actually sit on near the objective on the train, and that she just can't be targeted. So that means that your opponent has to get up to deal with her. So as long as you can keep her protected, it means that, you know, she's going to be getting those objectives in, she's going to be getting those points in. So she could play a really good role on that, and having those explosives there, it could mean that you could potentially scare your opponent from coming anywhere nearer, especially with bikes, anything big. It's not going to do massive great amount of damage. Totally agree with yourself, but it's, you know, there's this ability to scare them with A, the explosives, and B, with the demolition charges as well. So look, there is some potential for her, but again, it makes it very, very interesting. So my overall thought upon the Genestealer Cult itself, there is a couple of good new rules with the models themselves. It'd just be interesting to see how much of the point impact changes when the new codex comes. So my prediction on that, looking at the way the Patriarch runs, I'm really hoping that when the Genestealer Cult codex comes out, or even when the Tyrannic codex comes out, that hopefully that we see, because of the way the invulnerable saves are working with the lightning reflexes, I'm so hoping, I'm praying, Games Workshop, really, really praying that you're listening to me, you're listening to the cult hive mind here, and you're going to start giving your models a 4-up invulnerable save. And if they do, listen, please come back to this video and drop it down and say, yeah, you're right, because I really hope that is going to be the case, because that would be so damn cool. Let's have a look at the Custodians, and let's see what we think about the Custodians. So let's get down to the Golden Boys. Let's see what the Golden Boys are going to bring. So there is no extra rules that I've seen for these, but what I can see, you've got the Blade Guard Champion. Now, the Blade Guard Champion is the new model that Games Workshop's brought out. Now, he's actually looking more tastier than the Servitor. So I'm really hoping when the Genestealer Cult Codex comes out that we've got some really, really cool rules to come out with everything else, because going for that one model, I don't feel in a safe place for the Genestealer Cult just yet. But we need to see the full Codex to see how much magic is going to be in there. But for the Blade Guard Champion, so he's got a move, so he's power level 7. Again, I can't see no points on these at the moment. So if at this point in the video you're seeing the details coming up and you see the points there, that is going to be his points, but at the moment I don't know his points, so do apologise. But as I said, time of edit this, I will try and find the points out. So the Blade Guard Champion, he's got movement characteristics of 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 5, toughness 5, 7 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership 7 with a 3+ save. So he's armed with the Volt Sword. So the Volt Sword itself has got 3 profiles. Hopefully you'll be seeing those now coming up. So, looking at the specs on the actual swords themselves, the one that really does get my, I do really like is the top one, which is like what? +2 strength, -4 damage, 2 damage. If he's going up against monster vehicle, unmodified rolls of 6 or 4+ on the hit, automatically wounds that target. So that could be really cool. So the times you're going to come up against the Flying Hive Tyrants, Demon Princes, Mortarion, any of the hotness that's on the battlefield at the moment, if he's got any of those key words, he's going to absolutely do some damage. And I'm kind of hoping he's going to be really damn cool. So you've got a couple of abilities on there. So the first one, let's have a look at the Swordsman. Each time a melee attack is made against this model, unmodified hit rolls of 1 to 3 always fails. Each time the melee attack is allocated to this model, add 1 to the armor saving throws. That's interesting. That's really cool. So it actually could put him, if there's no AP to it, it's going to put it up to 2+. That makes him really damn good. So having that awesome sword abilities is obviously deflecting the actual damage away. That's so damn cool. The next one, each time a friendly model shield host unit charges against an enemy model, that unit with engagement range, this unit adds 1 to the charge roll made for that unit. Whew! So he's absolutely going to be a beast in getting up into combat. I like that. Legacy of combat at the start of your fight phase. If this model, at the start of your fight phase, if this model within engagement range of an enemy unit can fight first that phase, this model is eligible to perform a heroic intervention. If it's within 6 inches horizontally, 5 inches vertically, each time this model makes a heroic intervention, move so long as it ends up closer to the enemy model. Wow, okay, that's really cool. So he's got a 6, it looks like he's got a 6+ heroic intervention. That is so damn cool. So all of a sudden that's putting that threat range of this guy to like next damn level. So he makes him quite a scary person to be around. And that's cool. So next up, we've got the Witch Seekers. Now, I don't have the Custodians codex, so I can't really go through it and compare them off. But she's got a movement of 7, so she's quite a fast little model, considering what they are. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, toughness and strength 3, 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 3+ save. They have got Witch Seekers Flamers, which is nice. 12 inches, salt D6, strength 4, -1 damage. So pretty much a normal flamer. So look, that's really cool. And as you can see, we've got some extra, special abilities on there as well. So that actually makes quite an interesting little unit itself. Power level 4, something that can potentially move quite quickly across the battlefield, pushing out those flamer shots. That could be really, really damn cool. But of course, we need to see the full codex to see what other benefits these characters can do, because so far she's looking quite tasty. So let's have a look at the Custodians next. Power level 3, he's got the Terminator armor, so you've got the 2-up save. Stat wise, it still looks pretty much the same as before, so not much has really changed from that. So the abilities, we've got Ages of the Emperor, from the Golden Light, and we've got the Material Qatar, see Adeptus Custodes. So I don't think those rules are in the Custodians Codex. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, because as I say, I don't have that to hand at the moment. So they look like potentially they're new rules that we just spotted straight away. So we don't quite know what they are, because I can't see them again in the book. But if they are, you will be seeing them dropping down. So please, 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 that'd be really cool. You've got a Shield Captain in there. Stat lines again, it looks similar. You've got the grenade launcher in there, 18 inches, D3, strength 5, -3, 1 damage. You've got the Kesselan axe, shooting, and which is 24 inches, rapid 1. That one does -1, 2 damage. In melee, it's +3, -2, 2 damage. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Again, pretty much a Terminator. So they seem to be really damn cool on that. If you're Custodians player, it'd be really cool to see what what you think upon that, because it does look really damn tasty on that. So the Vigorators, that's in the next unit coming up. Again, power level 4. Again, very fast. All the stat lines are pretty much weapon skill, ballistic skill, toughness, and strength, all 3. 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 3+. That's pretty much a generic thing now across the astral laders themselves. Their weapons are +2 strength, -3, 2 damage. So again, these are marine killers. These are going to be the things that goes up against marines, chaos legionaries, going up against those chaotic space marines. Hopefully we'll start seeing some of those with 2 wounds. We've already seen the Death Guard, the Thousand Suns. Don't get wrong, against Death Guard, they're just going to absolutely flop. They're only going to get the 1 damage, so they're not going to be effective against them. But against Thousand Suns at the moment, they're going to rock. And hopefully, seeing how the rest of the codex are coming out and the Chaos are getting 2 wounds, we'll probably see that again coming in with the Chaos Codex. We'll also see them coming in 2 wounds at all. So that as well. So that'd be really, really damn cool. Okay, so the Praetor, quite an interesting little model itself. So a character for the Custodes. Stat lines pretty much the same, 7 wounds, etc. Move 6, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, strength, toughness 5, leadership 11, 2+ save. 2 weapon profiles, so you've got melee and you've got shooting. Shooting 18 inches, D3, strength 5, -3, 1 damage blast. So not too bad at all, not too shabby. He's got his melee attack, his user, -2, 1 damage, and again you can make 1 additional attack on that as well. So he's cool, but this is where it gets interesting. So he can take a bit of Wargear, but they can only take 1 of the Wargear itself. So the first one, the first bit of Wargear you can select, it basically gives anything within core of the shield hosts or character shield hosts, will give them the ability for light cover. So if they're not in light cover, they get light cover. That's cool. The second one, the bearer has the following. While shield hosts and characters within 6 of this model, add 1 to the attack characteristics for each of the unit. So that's quite cool. I think that would probably be the one I'd probably go for more than anything else. Or actually, if you've got the cover, that would give them a 2-up save. Give other units possibly a 2-up save. So that might not be bad at all. And then the final one, given the ability, Any models within 6 inches, given the benefits of dense cover. So looking at that, for me, I would probably just go for the +1 attack, because that's going to be the most effective, because they are pretty much, you know, quite good already. Giving them that extra attack, it makes them even more deadlier in combat and really damn scary. Compare him up with, you know, another character that's got loads more attacks. Damn, he's gonna. So look at the two armies that we see in this box set. Not actually having the actual codex itself is going to make it quite interesting, because I can't see at the moment on which one of these armies are going to be more powerful than the other. Looking at the way the Custodians are played in the past and the games that I played with Custodians, yes, there's hardly anything with it. You know, they have few numbers, as the Genestealer Cult can, you know, outweigh them with numbers. Until we actually get a game in, it'd be interesting to see whether or not the new rules are better than the old rules. My money is on the Genestealer Cult. I'm praying that the Genestealer Cult is going to be really strong. But if you like the content I pushed out, hopefully, you know, you've already hit that like and subscribe. But please keep an eye out for the battle report that me and Ace are going to put up. Whether you've watched that first and you're watching this, thank you very much. But in that battle report, we will take these two armies to the test using the rules that we've got to hand, and we're going to see on which one of these armies are better. But of course, we're going to, you know, it's not going to be one-sided where it's going to be overly powered. We're going to try and use as many of the new tools as we possibly can. Anyway, thank you very much for watching our content. Hopefully, we're going to catch you again very, very soon. I'm Darren, and if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe.